Hey guys, Mr. Wilson here. Today we are going to talk about or continue our compound inequalities. Today we're going to talk about OR inequalities. At the end of this video, you should be able to solve and graph OR inequalities. Alright, last lesson we talked about the first type of compound inequality, the AND inequalities. And today we'll talk about the second type, OR. Alright, let's jump straight into an example. So let's say we're asked to find a number that's greater than 10 and less than 3. Or sorry, a number that's greater than 10 or less than 3. So a number that's greater than 10, if I want to write that, I'd say x is greater than 10. A number less than 3, I'd say x is less than 3. Now if you put them together, we get x is greater than 10 or x is less than 3. Okay. Notice that there's no special way of writing these inequalities. You will have to write the word OR in your answer with this type of compound inequality. And there's not a special way to write it because these are different sets. The numbers that are less than 3 aren't greater than 10. They can either be less than 3 or greater than 10. Okay, a solution to this type of compound inequality is a number that makes either inequality true, or just one of the inequalities true. In the above example, there are a bunch of numbers that work for both inequalities. There are no numbers, There are no numbers that work for both inequalities, but there are an infinite number of solutions. Okay, so that's what I just said. There are no numbers that are less than 3 and greater than 10. But there are numbers that are less than 3, and there are infinite numbers that are greater than 10. So we've got a lot of solutions there still. So to show all the solutions, we need to graph, just as we've been doing for the entire unit. Okay, and so when we graph, we have our important numbers, really important numbers. We have 3, we've got 10, okay. And then we just graph them. X is less than 3, that's an open circle because it's less than. Okay, that will go to the left to where the numbers less than 3 are. And then X is greater than 10, open circle because it's not or equal to, and that will go to the right where the numbers greater than 10 are. And there's my graph of the solution. Alright, so all we do for these compound inequalities when we're solving them for this OR inequality is we look at the two inequalities because there's going to be an OR between them. We solve them individually, graph them. Okay, so to solve these, simply solve each inequality and then combine the answers with the word OR. Alright, so let's jump to it. We have 4x plus 3 here is less than negative 5. We'll solve this, subtract 3 from both sides. 4x is less than negative 8. Divide by 4. X is less than negative 2. And then I'll do the same thing with this inequality. I have negative 2x plus 7 is less than 1. Okay, from there I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. That will give me negative 2x is less than negative 6. I'll divide both sides by negative 2. Remember that when I do that, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. So now x is greater than 3. And so here's my solution. X is less than negative 2 or x is greater than 3. Numbers on the line, negative 2, 3, greater than, open circle going to the right, less than, open circle going to the left, and there's my graph. Alright, so not very much new information there. You know how to solve an inequality. That means you know how to solve an OR inequality. I'll go through a couple here on the front with you. There are 2 more inequalities on the back that I'll want you to complete. So make sure you do that even though they will not be included in this video. Alright, So solving these, add 2 to both sides. So we'll have 6 is less than or equal, or sorry, greater than or equal to 3x. Then I'll divide by 3, and that will give me 2 is greater than or equal to x. I'm going to want to write this with my variable leading. X is less than or equal to 2. And then I'll solve this other side. That means I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 here. Gets rid of the fraction on my left side, so I have 5x plus 2 is greater than 32. I'll subtract 2 from both sides, so 5x is greater than 30. And then I'll divide by 5, and so x will be greater than 6. So x is less than or equal to 2, or x is greater than 6. So my two numbers, 2 here, 6 here. Less than or equal to is a closed circle going to the left. Greater than 6, open circle going to the right. There we go. Alright, number 2. Distribute this 4 here. 4x minus 4 is greater than 5x plus 2. Move my x's around. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Okay, and that will give me negative 4 is greater than x plus 2. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. And that gives me negative 6 is greater than x. And now again, I like to have my variable in the front. Helps me with graphing. Okay, so I moved it. Alright, on the other side, I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. That will give me negative 9 is greater than negative 3x. And then I'll divide by negative 3. So 3 is, then I'm going to flip the sign because I divided by a negative number. And then I want to write it so my variable is leading. X is greater than 3. Okay, and I'll add the or between them. Okay, and remember when you're flipping those signs at the end, if you need to do that to get your variable in front, always make sure that you have the inequality sign open to the same number. Okay, so it's eating or opening to x. I'm going to make sure that where x is, it opens to it. Alright, now I graph it. Negative 6 here, 3 here. X is greater than 3, open circle, going to the right. Or x is less than negative 6, open circle, going to the left. Okay. Remember, do these two problems on the back side. Notice that number 3 is an and inequality, and number 4 is an or inequality. You should be able to do both. Alright, see ya.